Have you ever noticed just how many styles of Lolita there actually are? It's kind of like cuckoo crazy when you actually think about it. So in this video, I'll be exploring and explaining every Lolita substyle that I could remember exists. By the way, this video is sort of a sequel to this one. This one is my EGL 101 Lolita Basic Terms video. It's perfect for Lolita beginners who might not know all the terminology of the fashion yet. So if you're interested, feel free to go and watch it. Let's start with the most popular styles of Lolita and move down to things that maybe aren't even considered Lolita, or maybe aren't even considered Lolita substyles. First off is Sweet Lolita. Sweet Lolita is probably the style that people associate with the fashion. Sweet Lolita is categorized by pastel colors, adorable themes, things like cute bunnies, cookies, rainbows, all of that sugary, just adorable goodness. Classic Lolita is another commonly worn style. A lot of classic Lolita is heavily inspired by Victorian and Edwardian types of gowns and clothing. In classic Lolita, you'll see a lot of floral prints, jewel tones, plain prints. You'll also see longer sorts of skirts. Gothic Lolita. Like its name suggests, it's inspired by Gothic clothing. In Gothic coordinates, you'll see a lot of, well, Gothic themes, like crosses or bats or cemeteries. You'll see a lot of darker colors or more muted tones in Gothic Lolita, but of course, cream or white coordinates that are Gothic also exist. OTT, or over-the-top sweet. This is exactly what you think it is. It is Sweet Lolita turned up to 11. It's almost like Sweet Lolita mixed with Decora. In over-the-top sweet coordinates, you'll see a lot of hair accessories. You'll see like those big, like pink, frizzy wigs. It really is almost just like sweet Decora. I remember OTT Sweet was so popular during like 2013. Oh my god, it was absolutely inescapable. Whenever you thought of Lolita, you thought of those giant wigs. Country Lolita! Alright, I have a soft spot for this one. Okay, so imagine you're frolicking in a beautiful field, you're having a lovely picnic on a giant field of grass. Think about the outfit you'd wear while doing that, and that's pretty much Country Lolita. Country Lolita is sort of a mix between Sweet Lolita and Classic Lolita. There's a lot of gingham prints, you'll see a lot of fruit-inspired dresses and accessories. Sunhats are also a popular headwear in Country Lolita. I've seen some Country Lolita coordinates that look almost Natural K inspired at times. Hime Lolita. Hime in Japanese means princess. Hime is pretty extravagant and over the top. You'll see a lot of big bonnets, huge dresses. Hime is heavily inspired by Rococo era fashion. Some of these Hime dresses, they look like wedding dresses. They're very like detailed and big and pastel. In Hime Lolita, you'll see a lot of pastel or jewel colors. You'll see a lot of chiffon or flowy fabrics. You'll see big sleeves. You'll see big bonnets. Hime is a very over-the-top style. Let's go Lolita. Let's go Lolita refers to coordinates of all kinds from about the early 1990s to around 2005 or 2008. Different people cite different years. Old school Lolita encapsulates a bunch of different styles. There's old school Gothic Lolita, there's old school Sweet Lolita. A lot of people associate old school Lolita with black x white colorways, but there are a lot of different varied prints and patterns and themes seen in that time of Lolita fashion. You had things like goblin fabric, you had things like screen printed designs. There's a bit of debate as to if old school should just refer to literally clothing from that era, or if old school is just a style and modern pieces should be considered old school Lolita. In old school Lolita, petticoats tend to be a lot less poofy than what we wear nowadays. I have a pretty big soft spot for this style, especially the dresses that sort of look like they're ripped off haunted Victorian dolls. I remember I was reading, what was that blog, like F Yeah Lolita or something, a really popular one. And like people associated old school with being Ida, which is so funny because like in the past like couple of years, old school has made such like a huge resurgence. Speaking of old school Lolita, I made this old school inspired Lolita headdress. You can watch the tutorial on how to make it right here. Shameless plug. Casual Lolita. Casual Lolita is a more relaxed version of the typical Lolita. I'd say that most styles of Lolita can be casual-fied. I've seen a lot of sweet casual coordinates. You'll see a lot of people wear brands like Emily Temple Cute. In casual Lolita, you'll see smaller petticoats, less wearing of blouses, less accessories, more comfortable and practical footwear. Casual Lolita is also sometimes called Otome, which is really interesting because there's two different definitions of Otome. One of them is casual Lolita. The other kind of Otome refers to this sort of like proto-Lolita, Western-inspired prairie fashion. Like, clothing by Pink House, for example, is a very Otome-K brand. Western Otome is like a sister fashion to Lolita, but it's not necessarily Lolita. It's almost like a predecessor to the Lolita that we know today. By the way, I used like a Lolita fashion wiki to just like research different substyles, you know, that I may have forgotten. And on the little blurb for casual Lolita, on the article blurb for casual Lolita, it says, "It is very hard to put together a nice casual Lolita outfit unless you have years of experience or a natural at it." I feel like that's not correct.
Military Lolita takes inspiration from older military wear, including Navy wear. Most of the time, military Lolita pieces are referred to as such because of the garment's cut and embellishments. For example, military OPs and coats commonly have double-breasted button designs. Military pieces can also come in different styles. You can have sweet pieces with military-style buttons, for example. There are some dresses inspired by more modern military wear, like this Flyer Ivy military Cats JSK, but the vast majority of military Lolita is based on older styles of military wear. Some commonly worn military Lolita accessories include gloves, hats, military boots, peaked caps, insignias and logos on military style clothing is also very popular. You'll see hats or OPs or coats with a certain brand's label on it. Most of the time you'll see pieces in this style come in olive greens or navy blues, blacks or grays.
Sailor Lolita. Sailor Lolita courts are inspired by cute sailor outfits. These courts have nautical themes. Most of the time they'll be in white and blue colorways. You'll see a lot of things like stripes, sailor hats, things like anchors, or stripes or fish even.
Key Lolita. Key Lolita is a substyle inspired by traditional Chinese dresses, including the qipao and hanfu. Key Lolita dresses inspired by qipao usually have high necklines and short sleeves. Hanfu-inspired Lolita dresses have an empire waistline and large flowy sleeves. Wild Lolita. Wild Lolita incorporates the traditional Japanese kimono into Lolita. Wild Lolita dresses have big kimono-like sleeves, as well as fabric prints inspired by traditional Japanese kimono fabrics. There are a lot more Lolita substyles that are inspired by various East Asian garments. I'll admit I'm not the most knowledgeable about these cultures, so if you'd like to read more about these styles and their cultural inspirations, I've included a link to a really well-researched Google Doc about the differences and nuances between Lolita substyles inspired by various East Asian styles of dress.
Aero Lolita. I'm gonna be honest, I hate this name, especially because Lolita is already trying to fight back a lot of the weird, like, ideas people have about it because of its name. This term refers to Lolita coordinates where you have your shoulders showing and skirts are a bit shorter. Remember, this is still a Lolita substyle. You're not gonna have your booty cheeks peeking out underneath your petticoat. Standard Lolita rules still apply. Guro Lolita. Guro in Japanese means gross. I use Google Translate, so I don't know if that fully encapsulates it. In Guro Lolita, you'll see a lot of creepy, cute, inspired imagery. You'll see a lot of things like blood splatters, or knives, or syringes, or body parts, or doll parts. Just creepy things generally. There's a lot of nurse JSKs and OPs that fall under the category of Guro too. Guro cords are super popular during Halloween, for obvious reasons. Cosplay inspired Lolita. First of all, Lolita by itself is not a costume or a cosplay. However, there is a kind of Lolita that incorporates cosplay into coordinates. These coordinates aren't exactly cosplay, they're more inspired by a character or a franchise. Another type of cosplay Lolita is sort of characters' dresses that have been transformed into Lolita dresses. For example, there are these OPs that are inspired by Madoka and Hamura from Puella Magi Madoka Magica. These dresses are the normal outfits that they wear in the show, but just sort of more Lolita-fied? Punk Lolita. I'm gonna be honest, even after researching Punk Lolita, it's always sort of like confused me as a substyle. Some Punk Lolita incorporates elements of British punk into the fashion, but I've also seen punk coordinates that are more like scene inspired. In the substyle, you'll see Desdemonias, a lot of tartan prints, tattered fabrics, and asymmetrical hemlines. Pirate Lolita. There's a lot of overlap between Pirate Lolita and elegant aristocratic fashion. In Pirate Lolita coordinates, you'll see headwear like tricorn hats, you'll see a bunch of big flowy blouses. Kuro Lolita. Kuro in Japanese means black, so Kuro Lolita just refers to any coordinate that's all in black. You could have a Gothic Kuro coordinate, you could have a sweet Kuro coordinate. Is this a substyle? I'm including it. Shiro Lolita. So like Kuro Lolita, this is a substyle, if you think it is, in which the coordinates are just all white. So usually you'll see people twinning with someone having an all white, a Shiro coordinate, and the other person having a Kuro, an all black coordinate. Bittersweet. A lot of people argue if this is a real substyle, but what it is just sweet Lolita dresses in darker colorways. For example, like this dress is in a pink colorway, this one is in a black colorway, the black one is considered a bittersweet dress. Circus Lolita. I don't know if people who wear Circus Lolita call it this, but I haven't noticed enough people wearing it to a point where it could maybe be a substyle. In Circus Lolita, you'll of course see a lot of circus themes like clowns, you'll see a lot of diamond prints. I've seen more experimental Lolita coordinates where people wear clown makeup with their dresses. Circus Lolita is definitely one of the more Western influenced Lolita substyles. Steampunk Lolita. Remember steampunk? If you don't know, steampunk is heavily inspired by Victorian fashion. In steampunk, you see a lot of bustle skirts, you see things like top hats, cravats. Steampunk is very inspired by Victorian fashion. The same is true in Lolita, so steampunk coordinates are just steampunk x Lolita. Maid Lolita. Some people think it's very costumey, but others just see it as a normal style of Lolita. Maid Lolita is, as the name suggests, inspired by maid outfits or maid costumes, which is why a lot of people question if it's reducing Lolita down to a costume. Cyber Lolita. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Cyber Lolita is inspired by either space race era 60s fashion or 90s Y2K space fashion, you know, with the crazy silvers and the transparent things and all that. In Cyber Lolita, you'll see a lot of silvers, you'll see more shiny fabrics. What if Lolitas went to space? That's what Cyber Lolita looks like. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has helped you in any way. I hope you found it entertaining or informative. I'll be back soon with another video. I hope I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a good day. Alright, bye!